So, with all that we mentioned in the last video in mind, the next thing to do is to start building an e-commerce store. The good news is that this is fairly easy. To begin with, you're first going to want to create a general website if you don't have one already. This is not only going to be used to promote your e-commerce store, but may also provide the backbone of your store itself by providing a way for people to easily access it and to find your goods. To create a website that will act as part of an e-commerce store, you're probably going to want to make something using WordPress. WordPress is a content management system, otherwise known as CMS, that makes it easier for you to build your site, customize the look, and add, edit, and remove content as you see fit. It can be likened to a blogging platform similar to something like Blogger or LiveJournal, but it's much more powerful than that and can be used to build entirely self-hosted websites. What makes WordPress so amazing is just how easy it is to set up. This is a website that can be built as easily as creating a Facebook profile, almost. This is practically a one-click installation, but from there it's incredibly powerful and can provide you with all the features you're likely to need. And I don't mean that WordPress is as good as the tools that professionals use. This is the tool that the vast majority of professionals use. Or to be more precise, 40% of websites and blogs on the net are powered by WordPress, and that includes many of the biggest blogs on the web like Mashable, Forbes, BBC America, Sony, and more. What this means for you is that you have a simple way to build a website that can be just as successful as any of those. This is a tried and proven means to build a website and removes the need to worry about whether the underlying code of your site might be holding you back. It's simply good business to choose WordPress, and it doesn't really make much sense to choose anything else. And as though that wasn't enough to make WordPress by far the best choice, it's also important to consider the huge amount of support and extra features that WordPress offers. The simple fact is that so many big websites are using WordPress, it means that there's a near infinite supply of people who can help you with any technical difficulties you might be facing, and there's just as many support forums, online guides, and more as well. WordPress is also endlessly customizable and upgradable due to the themes and plugins. Themes let you change the way that your site looks and is laid out with simple installation. Meanwhile, plugins let you install additional features which can include all kinds of things like widgets for the sidebar, like comment sections, and like entire e-commerce stores. This is the point at which your ears should be picking up. Many of the options we'll be looking at throughout this series require you to be using WordPress, so don't even think about it. So, with that said, how do you build your WordPress site? Well, the first thing you'll need is hosting. And this, of course, means that you're paying for space on a server that will remain connected to the internet. In turn, that means anyone with an internet connection will be able to find your website as long as they have the right address. From there, you'll then need a domain name, which is the address people will type into their browser in order to be directed to the hosting that you're paying for. Fortunately, most hosting providers also offer domain names, removing the need for you to find both separately. What's also good is that both hosting and domain name are relatively affordable and shouldn't set you back more than $10 a month, if that. There are plenty of great hosting on domain packages out there, and to begin with, you won't need to worry too much about things like your bandwidth or your space. Usually, a fairly standard package will more than cover you until your site gains some real momentum, and once that happens, you won't need to worry about the cost of upgrading your service. While there are lots to choose from, a good choice that will suit most purposes is Bluehost. If you don't want to spend time comparing hosting packages, then head over to bluehost.com and sign up there. And as you can see, at the time that I'm making this video, they're offering a special offer, and they do all sorts of things as well, hosting, domain names, etc. And it says they've got over 2 million websites being powered worldwide. Make sure you choose a domain name that will be helpful when it comes to marketing your site. You need something that somewhat describes the nature of your business, but avoid using obvious key phrases in your title. Google has said that the best practice for businesses is to focus on creating a brand. Most web hosting accounts, including Bluehost, come with something called cPanel. And this is basically a control panel that provides access to a lot of useful features that can help you get started with your website. One of the best things included with cPanel is the option to one click install WordPress. And that does exactly what it says it does. So log into your account and then scroll down. You'll generally find this towards the bottom of cPanel. Sometimes you'll find WordPress listed here under software. Other times, other installations, some come with an extra pack called Soft Delicious, which is what this one does. Others come with Fantastico, and it's a whole lot of different apps that you can install from within cPanel. So find where the WordPress installation script is, click on it, and it takes you through here. And then all you do is simply click on the Install Now button here, and it talks you through the whole process. It only takes about 2 minutes and it's very straightforward. One tip to keep in mind, though, is to expand the advanced settings, as this will let you enter a store name and a username and password for your WordPress account. And cPanel isn't unique to Bluehost either. A lot of other hosting companies also provide the same features, and it will make it similarly easy for you to set up WordPress with a single click. Failing that, you might need to go through the installation manually. But this is fairly simple too. You'll need an FTP program in order to do that. Probably the best one is FileZilla, which you can download from filezilla-project.org. Or failing that, you can use the file manager that comes as part of cPanel. And basically, what you have to do is you have to come here to wordpress.org and download the installation file, FTP it to your server, and then unpack it and follow the instructions. And just as with doing the one-click installation, it is fairly straightforward. You can also, if you wish, get your installation hosted for you on WordPress.com. And this is a great option for building a free website if you're a hobbyist. But if you want to make money, though, it's not something you should consider, as it's going to make your business appear amateurish. And it also is going to limit many of the things that you can do with it. Now just point your browser at whatever your URL is, followed by /admin/, and enter the username and password that you chose. You'll now get logged into your dashboard where you're able to edit content or change settings or alter your theme, install plugins, and a whole lot more. The first thing you'll want to do is to change some basic settings, which includes the site's name and its tagline. At the moment, it says just another WordPress site. And this is still pretty generic looking at this point. And this is where adding and editing your themes comes into play. So once you're logged into your dashboard, you simply come here to Appearance and Themes and click on that. And it comes with some already installed, and you can go through here and click Add New and then browse through some of the themes that are available from WordPress, either free or paid. And you can install them and completely change the look and navigation of your website. Failing that, you can alternatively look at another external site such as ThemeForest, which you'll find here at themeforest.net. And here you can find some more premium themes that, it'll cost you a bit more, but they'll also be more unique, more professional, and more professional looking, really. As you can see, prices start from around $2 at the time that I'm making this video. To install plugins, meanwhile, you just want to go to Plugins and Add New. And there are again plenty you can choose from, including both paid and free options. And these can do some excellent things for you, pretty much from handling your SEO to adding comments or other interactive elements to your website. You can also find plugins that give you more customization options, changing your fonts, for instance, and that speed your site up and a whole lot more. So have a play around and see what you can come up with. You'll find it's fairly easy to build a completely unique and powerful website that looks just as professional as any of the big names that we discussed earlier. Now you know why e commerce is such a big deal and what makes it such a fantastic tool for making money online. But the next question you need to answer is how you're going to make this work for you. Having an e commerce store is great in theory, but it's what you do with it that really counts. And as it happens, there is no right way to run an e commerce store. This video series is aimed at everyone from small business owners to hobbyists who just want to run a store as a side project. The way that both types of seller goes about creating and running their business will of course vary, so find the relevant heading here that applies to you and see how you can fit an e-commerce store into your existing business. If you already have a high street store, then the good news is that you're already in the perfect position to start taking full advantage of e-commerce. You already have inventory, you already have a niche, and you probably already have a website. Adding e-commerce is simply the next logical step. By creating an online store, you can give your customers the ability to order your products online, which will increase your turnover and also give you a much bigger potential audience. What's more is that you can use your physical store to promote your e-commerce store and vice versa. It's important that you do this correctly though. You'll need an e-commerce store that will automatically synchronize with your physical store so that the inventory is updated when products are bought online or in store. Ideally, you want to find a solution that lets you use your EPOS, your electronic point of sale, to automatically update the stock with no work on your part. If you're in work and you want to try setting up your own e-commerce store, then you'll be starting from scratch. The good news here is that any income you add to your existing income will be extra, meaning that this can be a very small scale business model and you won't need to worry about trying to run the business on a massive scale or making a fortune from day one. With that in mind, you can identify a type of product you want to sell, create a website and a store, and invest in a small amount of inventory. Or perhaps you even want to make your own products. Either way, you can simply invest more money each time you sell off what you have while keeping a little extra for yourself. You can also use an eBay store and social media to help your sales and possibly run a blog to handle content marketing. If you're a blogger or a marketer, then you might already have an audience and a platform from which to sell your products. This is simply a matter of adding a store to your existing business and promoting it to your email list, to your visitors, and anyone else that you can influence. This business will start with you identifying a type of product that fits into your niche and then choosing an e-commerce platform to suit your store. You might decide also to remove AdSense or affiliate products from your site in order to focus more attention on your own store for maximum profits. So those are some basic models for your e-commerce stores. The next question is how you might apply them in the real world. Now, here are some imaginary scenarios to help you visualize what this might look like. Now, let's look at the clothes reseller. And a very simple and easy business model, if you're looking to make money from home as a side business, is to become a reseller. What this means is that you're buying stock and then simply reselling it for a little more. To do that, you'll normally be buying in wholesale. So let's say you choose to sell clothes from home. Now, this might mean that you buy 100 shirts for $600, that's $6 each, and then you sell them off at $12. This is called keystone pricing, and it's a fairly standard pricing system for a lot of wholesalers and manufacturers. Even if you only sell half, you've broken even. Ideally, though, you'll aim to sell all of them, giving you $600 profit. You may choose to keep $400 of that and then reinvest $200 so that you can order $800 of stock next time for $1,600 turnover. Over time, your pot will grow. This then allows you to invest some money into marketing, Google AdWords or Facebook ads, for instance, and to diversify your line with different types of shirt and other types of clothing. But right from the word go, you can start making money from your store by selling to friends and also by selling some of your stock on eBay. This is all much easier though if you try to focus on a specific niche and to give your store some kind of focus that sets you apart. For example, you might sell shirts aimed at a particular demographic, plus size women, entrepreneurs, gay men. Or you might sell shirts that have something in common, they're easy to iron, or they're light and cool, or they're bright colors, that sort of thing. With something that sets you apart and helps you to appeal to a particular audience, it's more likely your adverts, your social media posts, and your listings will get noticed. What about if you're a blogger with ebooks? As we'll see in more detail later in this series, you don't need to limit yourself to selling physical products. You can actually just as easily sell digital products like ebooks and even software through an e-commerce store. So, if you have a blog that's currently selling a single ebook from a sales page, you might consider branching out and selling multiple books from an online store. This way, you'll look like a much bigger business and people will be able to browse what you have to offer at their leisure. This also means that you can use things like special offers, deals, and a whole lot more to promote specific books, and you can place adverts for your books around your site instead of using AdSense. What's more, you can even start using things like apps and plugins to sell your books in a more inventive way. You can embed your e-commerce store right into your Facebook page, for example, for more direct monetization of your social media efforts. No matter what your business is, though, you're going to need something to sell. Here are some ways that you can stock up a shop, even if you aren't fortunate enough to own your own manufacturing plant. And the first is 3D printing. This is a surprisingly viable option these days. If you have a 3D printer or you're happy to use a website like Shapeways, which you can find here at shapeways.com, then you can sell plastic or metal objects with nothing more than a 3D model file. Now, this might mean that you sell phone cases, jewelry, or ornaments, or even toys. As mentioned, you can sell products by finding wholesalers and buying in bulk. There are other ways you can be a reseller too, such as adding value yourself by packaging products nicely or just finding them very cheap somewhere. If you have a skill such as painting or making clothes, there's no reason why you can't turn that into a business and sell through your own online store. You might also want to try selling through Etsy.com as well. There's no reason you can't sell digital products from your site. Now, this might be an online course, an ebook, or a piece of software. There's no overheads and there's no delivery. Affiliate products are products that you sell for a commission. Now, some digital affiliate products let you keep as much as 75% of the profits. Dropshipping is in many ways the ideal business model. This means you sell a product that you didn't create, except that you're allowed to add your branding to the product so it looks like you did. What's more is that you don't have to worry about shipping yourself. That's also handled by the other company. And there's POD. Now, POD stands for print on demand. And often this term applies to publishing, meaning that you print books only when you sell them. Both Amazon and Lulu have great POD publishing options. Likewise, though, POD might mean printing t-shirts or printing logos onto mugs. T-shirt stores are big money online and they're super easy to set up. Finally, why not just outsource the creation of your product? This is easiest for digital products, but it can work for all types of things as well. If you're looking to make money online, or even if you just want to increase the profits of your existing business, Creating an e-commerce store is an excellent strategy. Scratch that. This is 100% the best way to make money online, and that goes for hobbyists, entrepreneurs, bloggers, and small businesses alike. Bold claim? Sure is, but keep watching to find out why we can be confident in making it. So, just what is e-commerce? Of course, the term refers to online commerce, in other words, selling products online. But while e-commerce could mean selling an e-book from a landing page, it's most often used to refer more exclusively to online shops that sell multiple products and that have a particular layout and setup. The most popular example of an e-commerce store is undoubtedly Amazon. This acts just like a high street store and allows you to browse products at your leisure and add them to a shopping cart. The only difference is that you can do all this from the comfort of your home, and once you check out, the products are simply delivered to you wherever you are. It's a familiar concept, but what makes it so important? Okay, so let's look at why e-commerce is the future. Well, the first thing you need to recognize is that e-commerce is growing. In the early days, people were uncertain about spending online and found it daunting to hand over their card details and trust a supplier they couldn't meet face to face. But now look at companies like Amazon and eBay. These are household names around the world, and everyone from the young and tech savvy to the elderly are now happy to shop with them. These companies have helped many people to put aside any concerns they might have had regarding e-commerce and to trust in buying online. And e-commerce is growing as well and doing massive business. For proof, you need look no further than the stats from Cyber Monday. Cyber Monday is a national holiday of sorts where online retailers are anticipated to lower their prices. It follows Black Friday, but these days it tends to do nearly as much business, and it's growing rapidly. For example, in 2014, Cyber Monday created a total of $2.59 billion in sales online. Now, that's no small number, but in 2015, this was increased to $3.19 billion. Now, that's a huge increase. $2.28 billion of those were on desktops versus $2.04 billion the previous year, while $838 million were through mobile devices. Now that's versus $548 million. Across all devices, Cyber Monday increased by 21% from the previous year. Seeing as Amazon is probably the best known online retailer, how's its growth going? Well, the company sold a total of $107.01 billion worth of products in 2015. The company employs 230,800 people, and there are 304 million active Amazon customer accounts. The brand is worth $47.73 billion, and this is only expected to continue to grow as well. The story is the same across the board. People are becoming more and more familiar with e-commerce, and high street stores are struggling. This is undoubtedly the future of selling, and it's easy to see why. Reason number 2 is its convenience. So, what is it that's led to such growth in e-commerce? Well, the simple fact of the matter is that online sales benefit everyone. The only reason online sales haven't already dwarfed physical sales is probably the fact that some people still don't trust shopping online or aren't sure how to go about it. Over time, this concern will be eroded more and more, while tools like PayPal will make it easier and safer than ever before. When you sell products online, it means you don't have to employ staff and you don't have to rent the same amount of physical space. You'll need somewhere to store your products, unless you're drop shipping, of course, but other than that, your only costs will be hosting, shipping, and web design. Lower overheads mean more profit for you, but they also mean lower prices for customers. Customers now have the ability to order products online conveniently, but on top of that, they'll be getting them for a much lower price. There's also greater versatility in terms of what you can sell. With an e-commerce store, you can sell physical products, which will require some upfront investment, but there's also a lot less upfront cost. If you wanted to set up a high street store, then you would need to be willing to spend a large amount of money to rent the physical space, to invest in the stock, and to manage staff, etc. However, If you're setting up an online store, then all you're going to need is some inventory to sell, perhaps not if you're going to be selling a digital product or acting as an affiliate, and a website. It takes just a few clicks to set up an e-commerce store, and that means you can have one up and running in minutes for negligible cost. And reason number three, it's the best way to monetize a website. Now, the last two examples explain why businesses should launch their own e commerce stores and why you might consider launching an e commerce store as your business. But you should also sit up and take notice if you run a blog or a website already and you're just looking for a way to monetize it. Why? Because it's actually one of the most effective methods there is of making money from a website. Until now, you likely have been relying on one of several methods to make money online. Perhaps you're making money from advertising on your website, selling ads on Google AdSense, for example, or maybe you're making money selling an affiliate product. In either of those scenarios, it's important to recognize that you've placed yourself at the bottom of the food chain. In other words, you're being paid by those advertisers and product creators in order to send more business their way. The fact that they're happy to continue paying you means they're making money from you. In other words, they're earning more from your visitors than you are. You're getting a small share of the profit, but they're taking home the lion's share. And in fact, you're essentially doing their work for them. And that's why you'll typically earn about 1 to 50 cents per click on an advert, meaning in turn that you're going to need hundreds of thousands of visitors a day to your site to make any reasonable money. Compare this with selling your own products and making $20 to $50 each time. Of course, it's much easier to get someone to click on an advert than it is to get them to buy something, but not as difficult as you might think if you have decent products and you're running your store well. The bottom line? Well, you can make a living from a website with just a few hundred daily visitors instead. If you have an e-commerce store, the buck stops with you. Now you're making the maximum profit from your customers because you're selling something to them and you're keeping the difference. What's more, you're keeping visitors on your site and engaged with your brand. You're not sending them away. You're keeping them right where you want them and making a real difference to the way they see you. Finally, selling e-commerce products is better than selling digital products or affiliate products because it's something anyone can appreciate. Only a very specific type of person buys ebooks about making money online. Phone cases and clothing, though, well, that's got much broader appeal. Try putting an e-commerce store on your existing website and just see what the difference it makes to your profits. And the potential for growth is massive. With all that in mind, then, it's definitely worth learning how to create an e-commerce store so that you can start maximizing your online earnings. And potentially so you can turn your small website into your very own global brand selling products that get you really excited. That's where this video series comes in. Here you will learn how to run an online store and create an effective business model, how to set up your own online store with one of several e-commerce platforms, how to find, create, or buy products you can sell online, how to build a website and social media presence to promote your store, how to stock and design your store to maximize sales, how to price your products, how to choose products that will sell well, how to use apps, plugins, and more to get even more sales, and much more. In short, you'll learn how to create an e-commerce business or add e-commerce to your existing model in simple, easy steps. From there, you'll then be shown multiple ways you can increase your profits and turn your business into a huge success. Are you ready? Let's start selling online.